A2theK. Hello, welcome to another episode of the A2theK Wrestling Show with your hosts Carl and Anthony. But we got some news, Anthony. Tell the people.
Yeah, we have. Wait, is now the time for the news, Carl?
See what you did there.
Kid.
See what you did there.
The great news, Carl. The great news for us and for everyone, obviously. This benefits the world as far as I'm concerned. We are now available on PWTs with some of our amazing merch. If you just want to wear our faces on your body, you can do that. But we all have also tried to have a bit of fun with it too. And there'll be more and more things coming as time goes on. But we're on PWTs. Check it out. Check it out now.
Check it out. You can obviously wear a t-shirt emblazoned with our beautiful faces. You can wear our Damn We're Old NWO rip-off t-shirt. Our Whiskey and Wrestling signature, and also a brand new tee that we launched just for PWTs, which is, of course, making light of the recent WWE releases with a...
I think we're not making light, we're just highlighting
it.
Model.
Yeah, so basically it's, pretty formulaic. Get, push, change, release. And
of course the cycle repeats.
Of course it does. So go and check us out on PWTs/A2theK Wrestling. But for now, we're going to throw it over to Road Dogg for A2theK's little known fact of the week.
Oh, you didn't know?
Beautiful. So, in this week's unique segment, we're going to be giving our thoughts on AEW's Full Gear pay-per-view. But Anthony, did you know Kenny Omega versus Hangman Adam Page is the first AEW pay-per-view to be headlined by two wrestlers that aren't former WWE guys?
I mean, that's obviously because AEW is practically entirely WWE talent.
Of course it is. Yeah, AEWWE. But no, in all 10 of AEW's previous pay-per-views, their main events have featured former WWE talent. We had Jericho versus Kenny Omega, Jericho versus Hangman, Moxley versus Kenny, Jericho Moxley, Stadium Stampede, Moxley versus MJF, Moxley Kingston, Moxley Kenny, Stadium Stampede again, and Kenny versus Christian. So this, Kenny Omega versus Hangman Adam Page, is the first AEW pay-per-view to be headlined by talent not formerly from the WWE.
More you know. Some smart ass is going to point out that Kenny Omega was there like 1 week.
Well, actually, Kenny Omega had a dark match on Velocity on episode 27. But yeah, so that was A2theK's little known fact of the week, and here is Road Dogg to play out that segment.
Oh, you didn't know?
Beautiful. So, Anthony, we're talking this week in wrestling. We're kicking off with WWE. Do you want to go through the first highlight of the week?
I mean, I suppose I could.
Want is a strong.
I think, let's do what I think everyone expects us to do here, because how can you ever have him anything other than a highlight in WWE? He is truly one of the highlights of WWE. So the first highlight I'm going to give is...
Giveth.
What's this drink doing? It's Seth's opening promo.
Mm-hmm.
As always, gold. So that's got to be a highlight for me.
It's one of them. It's so interesting because I think a lot of people find him really grating, and they're like, "Oh, he's a terrible promo for that reason." But I love it. I think he's that horrible little whiny weaselly heel, and that's
the thing is, like, and I don't know if you'll agree with me on this. I prefer him as a heel, like, because he's so, like, this sounds horrible, does it? I don't know. We'll try. He's so easy to dislike. I prefer him as a heel. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, character assassination.
I don't mind him as a face, but I think he does play that Weasley heel character too well. And like you say, you can either, like, I don't know, take it as that's him as a real person and genuinely hate him like some people choose to do, or you can take it for what it is and go, he's just fantastic at being that guy, at being that heel character. And I much prefer him in this sort of role. I think he plays it so much better. And yeah, like, how can you not like him as a heel?
It's true.
Like, I don't know. I think especially for me, the last time I saw him as a face, he was like the what did he call himself? The Beast Breaker or so. I can't remember what he called himself. Beast Slayer. Sorry.
Yeah.
Totally messed that up. And it was like, yeah, okay, I guess, but he's much better as he is now. Although someone likened his outfit to Paddington Bear, which did tickle me.
Yeah. Fucking love it. But Yeah, absolute highlights. I always love his promos. I think he's just he's the worst, but in the best kind of way. So the next highlight to talk about, Adam Pearce gets it right for once. Shock horror. So you actually mentioned this on, I think it was last week's show. We were talking about Rey Mysterio and Dominic.
Yeah.
And basically, Dominic has now been removed from the Survivor Series match. So Adam Pearce came out and he was like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've still got fucking severe problems with all this. I don't know whether we're covering it separately, but I'm going to talk about it now. So even though it's a highlight, it still irks me, the fact that Adam Pearce has come out and gone, well, everybody on this team's a world champion and I want the best for Team Raw. And it's like, but you're fighting yourself. You're the commissioner of both shows. That's why it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's not brand warfare. You just, I don't get it.
Why is it a thing? Sometimes they forget that it's not brand warfare. Like,
oh God,
so honestly, this is the only time different general managers works is Survivor Series, and when they're trying to do Survivor Series with Aria, and it's like, so you and Sonya don't like each other, but you both run both shows rather than each of you having one show, and you want Raw to win, but you don't. Like, it doesn't make any sense anymore. Like, I think the last Survivor Series, didn't we actually have like Daniel Bryan running one side and Mick Foley running the other? Maybe. Bad memory. I don't know. I can't remember what happened during the pandemic anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's an entire year of our lives all just gone into nothingness.
And while we're talking about Survivor Series, I think someone rightly pointed out that whilst it's a good shout, like not having Dominic in, because it did irk me that it's just a blatant nepotism. There's no reason he should be in the Survivor Series team other than who his dad is. But so I think someone rightly pointed out that, like, when you half-heartedly announce the Survivor Series teams on Twitter and then subsequently change them over the next few weeks before Survivor Series, what's the fucking point?
Yeah,
exactly. They've not made real. They kind of not really made a big deal of Survivor Series, which is weird. No, or it doesn't feel like they have.
For one of the core 4 pay-per-views of WWE, it feels like Survivor Series is. It doesn't feel relevant anymore, and I think it is because of that. Because there is no brand warfare, there is no competition between shows. It's just different people are on the different shows, but it's all run by the same person. So
another interesting take. And apologies, I'm not crediting anyone because I didn't remember your names. My bad. Someone said about, like, really it's a big 5 now because of Money in the Bank, considered one of their bigger shows. And then I started thinking about it, like, honestly, I think they actually nowadays show Money in the Bank more respect. So
probably, yeah.
It may be a fair point. It might be that Money in the Bank is one of the big 4 now, because Survivor Series is definitely the weaker one. They still try and make SummerSlam like the WrestleMania of that time of year, don't they? So, well, that's the exaggeration. They don't give you 2 nights of it and, you know, loads of pyro and boats and stuff. So it's still not quite a. Yeah. Basically, we've got the big one, which is Royal Rumble, and the rest.
It's only a big pay-per-view when it gets a different stage. So only WrestleMania gets a different stage at the minute. The rest of it is you'll stick Rumble, with it.
No, Royal Rumble is the best pay-per-view.
Not in WWE's eyes. It gets standard stage, so standard thing. But no, yeah, I agree. So at least Adam Pearce did something right. He took Dominic out of the match, brought back Bobby Lashley, who beat his ass, and he basically took his place. So fair play, made sense.
Indeed. So, Carl, I'm actually going to give credit to something that I don't think WWE usually do very well. But my next one is the Fatal 5-Way. So there's a few reasons here, Carl. First one, I'm sure you'll agree with me, is that Liv Morgan seems to be getting treated with some respect and getting some fucking screen time. Awesome. Fantastic. Right? Also, I think all of them actually really had a really good show here. Like, shout out to even Doudrop. Like, they're probably going to stick with that name. I don't know why they're going to stick with that name, but obviously she appears to have, like, turned heel, if you will. I don't know. Let's see where it goes. I think everything's looking fucking awesome on that front. And could they be actually doing the women's division well on Raw? Could they, Carl?
That would be a thing. It would be pretty shocking if that was the case. But no, I think I was surprised by the outcome. Obviously, you know, everyone knows I'm a big Liv Morgan mark, so you know, I'm happy that she's finally going to get a title opportunity.
Considering we've not seen her, like, she's had so many chances to have that opportunity on SmackDown, I think we're just conditioned to not expect it.
Yeah, I mean, like,
like, I don't know. She's still got time. Do you know what I mean? She's still got a long way to go in a lot of senses, being like because I think it's only really recently that she's been solo that she's had to sort of hone her in-ring ability, as it were. But she's definitely got championship potential. And I thought I said that wrong, so I paused.
Yeah, I just I don't know. I've always felt for her because there's been so many times where she's on the cusp of being pushed, and then they just take the foot off the gas with her. Obviously, they had that like weird, several different weird gimmicks, like where she's just in a bath for some reason talking about weird stuff, and then there's one.
Well, no, because that was because she was in love with Lana for a week. Remember?
Yes.
That's why she was in the bath.
And then we had like,
sure, that storyline made sense.
I'm just a young girl who doesn't know who I am yet. As they tried to do that for a bit. Then they were like, well, let's fucking put her back in the Riot Squad. So yeah, they've just they haven't had a clue.
Out of that squad.
They haven't had the clue what to do with her. So yeah, I think she's where she belongs. She should be, around the scene. Whether or not she wins it, I doubt it. But the fact that she's challenging for this is where she should be. So.
I don't know if you agree with this, but I think this is clearly them actually testing the waters, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's probably not going to win, but seeing how well she does in that scene, how well it's received, will probably determine whether she gets a shot in the future, or whether she gets an actual run with the belt in the future. Yeah, I think this is them sort of testing that.
Classic WWE as well. They've left it too late because there was a point in time not too long ago where she was getting absolutely, everyone was cheering like she was proper over. And she still is, but just not as much as she probably was, a few months ago. So, yeah, left it a bit late, but it's happening.
We could get to a point where your WWE champion is Big E and your women's champion is Liv Morgan. Like, that is not something you could have expected even a year ago.
No, I would love to see the odds on that betting slip.
You just got to live and let live.
Terrible.
Sorry, you know what? I like that jokes. It was there. What are you going to do?
You had to take it. So the next highlight is, speaking of Big E, Kevin Owens beat the shit out of him, and I'm a big fan of that. Everybody who listens or watches this show knows that I like to bash Big E quite a bit. But yeah, I just
screaming at you. Stun, Owens, stun!
I just, I don't know. I quite like Kevin Owens as a heel. I feel like that's what he should be. So if this, does do something for him, gets him back into, obviously it's not going to be in the main event scene very imminently because Seth is the one with the title opportunity. But obviously, who knows where it's going to go. But yeah, I just enjoyed Kevin Owens going, do you know what? I'm going to beat the shit out of Big E. I was a big fan.
Yeah. Honestly, I think, no offense to Seth, because whatever Seth does, he'll do it well. But I would prefer the Kevin Owens Big E feud, honestly. I don't know, maybe just because I'm a bit sort of starved of Kevin Owens, if you know what I mean, because they haven't really done much with him for ages, and it's like, do you remember when Owens was working with Jericho and was champion, and they had the Festival of Friendship, and he was
literally the best thing.
The whole thing was fucking awesome.
He was the best thing on telly for ages. He's another one where I just feel like he's so underutilized, isn't he? Obviously, that kind of starts all the he's going to go to AEW in January rumors, but they're clearly trying now. They're going, oh shit, his contract's up soon. Let's remember we have him and put him on telly.
What about this belt? Huh? Right. So last highlight, I think, but certainly my next highlight, Carl. And I'm actually giving NXT a shout out this week for those of you who listen regularly. Thanks. But for those of you who listen regularly, I haven't mentioned NXT in a few weeks, and that's not, well, it's sort of deliberate, but it's not trying to be harsh on them. It's the fact that, really speaking, since they've become NXT 2.0, a lot of the talent is new, a lot of the stuff's building up. There's not a lot I can get invested in right now, and it made for less highlights in general. But I also,
but it's so colourful.
I know, everything's so bright and rainbowy. We're also made for less shites because of the same reason. I can't really call much issue with it. It just was so. There's, I've had not a lot really to get me teeth into the last few weeks. This week, however, I do want to give one highlight, and that is the fact that we had Pete Dunne versus Carmelo Hayes as the main event. And what a fucking match they put together between the two of them. And, shout out to Carmelo, who seems to be getting pushed, something shocking now, and seems to rightfully deserve it. We're going to get matches like this. I think I'm probably coming across as a bit of a Pete Dunne mark over the last year or so with this podcast, but he is incredibly fucking talented, isn't he? And I think this just showed that the pair of them could put on a quality match, and I'm here for it. I want to see what they do next with Carmelo. definitely want to see what they do next with Pete Dunne because I wanted him to win the fucking title. So what's gonna happen there?
Yeah, no, I think there's not much else I can add. To be fair, Carmelo's definitely a up and coming talent, and I think Pete Dunne's proven in his time in NXT UK and what we've seen of him in NXT that he's definitely got that talent. I don't know whether he's ever going to make the step up. He probably won't, and that's probably not a bad thing.
No,
but yeah, no, also a big Pete Dunne fan. So agreed. Over to the O'Shites. So you've got your WWE champ, Biggie. How do you book your WWE champion to make him look strong and really legitimize him as your champ when there's a lot of people thinking he's not ready, me included? Well, what you do?
Hang on. Yeah.
No.
Go on. No.
What you do is you book him in a match with fucking Shorty G. Right. Okay, he's Chad Gable now. Whatever. Right. Literally, mere months ago, he was fucking Shorty G, and I'm a big fan of Chad Gable, so I'm not gonna take that away from him. But Gable kicked his ass. It was like Hogan Cena embarrassing in the terms of he got his ass kicked, Big E, for the whole fucking match, and then just beat him with 2 moves at the end. I was like, are you shitting me? Right? That was awful. Gable wiped the floor with Big E. Gable wiped the floor with the WWE champion.
This is the thing, and this is, like you say, it's not really a disrespect to Gable. We both know that Gable is talented as fuck. I think he was very rightly likened to the Kurt Angle many moons ago before he became Shorty G. But the fact
Kurt
that
Angle, I like that.
The Kurt Angle. And I think it's just the storytelling again, isn't it? We've not really even, other than him being put in a team with Otis, they haven't really pulled away from the fact that this was the guy that was sort of laughable to the roster and that the likes of Baron Corbin would just brush off. Mm-hmm. And I say the likes of Baron Corbin again, another really talented guy, but he's been nowhere near the main event scene, certainly that I can remember. So the fact that mid-carders can just brush him off as just this little short fella who they don't really respect, it's just absolutely baffling that he actually put in this sort of offense. This should have been, and I don't often say this, but this should have been a squash.
Yeah.
To make a point.
There should have been, and I think though a lot of that hinges on how it was booked. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't set up in if you think about it, way back when it was Jeff Hardy versus the Undertaker, and Jeff Hardy earned Undertaker's respect and all that kind of stuff. That was putting the spotlight on Jeff Hardy. This wasn't even about that. This was like Chad Gable going, "Oh, I'll show you what I can do in the ring," and then he does beat the shit out of Big E, but then just gets buried in towards the end of the match, and that's it. He's not going anywhere. It's not going to push Gable on anymore, so it just felt redundant. But I'm telling you now, Survivor Series coming up, you've got champ versus champion. If you try and make me fucking believe for a single second that Roman Reigns is going to have a fucking struggle with Big E after you've just forced that shit down down our throats, then newsflash.
Honestly, I think that's a really good point. I think it actually makes me less bothered about that match. And Roman's been killing it since he come back, but are you really going to care about this match between him and Big E?
Yeah, exactly.
We can kind of predict where it's going to go ending wise, and they're probably not going to work well together. All due respect. So what are we to get out of that? Nothing
exactly.
Really.
Nothing. So yeah, shite from me.
Oh shite. So Carl, my next one, or my first one, but also my next one, is Rey Mysterio, and sadly I'd like to say this is the first time he's been so what's the word, stumbly, but he tried to cut a promo and the fuck, he literally he just totally stumbled his fucking way right through it. And honestly, I don't think I'm trying to say I don't think he's ever been sort of this bad, but he has in the past. He's done this before. I don't know what it is with him. It's sometimes you can cut basically I don't know. Is he someone who needs to be not scripted? Because when you think about, as much as I wasn't really a fan of the way it was booked, of Eddie was helping him win the championship, I didn't ever really like that. But you could get some decent promos out of him then, because he was talking about essentially his family, and it was more from the heart for him, I suppose. But I don't know what this is. But I'd say this isn't really the first time we've seen Eddie. We've seen Rey this sort of bad on the mic, and
no,
I don't know.
This was whole different. This reminded me of Kalisto's promo where he just lost his shit and was
gonna do a good lucha thing.
Woo! Yeah, this was horrendous. Like he stumbled over every line he was trying to get out. It was really, really poor. And to your point, like we have seen this before. It's not like a one-off, but yeah, this one just felt especially like jarringly bad this week. So yeah, bad enough to make the list of Oshites. It can't be overlooked. It was terrible. So the next one, and again a familiar topic on the Oshites, especially with me, the 24/7 title shit, right? Right. Again, we've spoken about this before. Let's take a little trip down memory lane. Anyone who knows me, it was a small portion of my life where I did a little bit of wrestling training.
That's true.
Right? And there was two big takeaways I got from that. Firstly, collar and elbow tie-up.
Oh, I thought like pizza.
Yeah, Domino's. So two big takeaways I got from my brief stint as a wrestler, right? It was how to do a good collar and elbow tie-up, and the other one, how to make a fucking pin look like you're trying to pin the person. Right? There be two things. And
that's been validated. I can't remember who validated
William
it.
Regal. William
Regal has fucking
of all
validated
people.
This point.
So there you go. Right? So, when did the fucking schoolboy roll-up become the most protected fucking finish in all of WWE? I fucking hate these things, right? This whole segment, again, was pointless. So finally, Drake Maverick beats Reggie, right? So Reggie, the longest 24/7 title reign of all time, gets beat. Brilliant. Drake Maverick, big fan. Got a lot of time for the guy. This is great. Then Drake Maverick loses, and then fucking the announce team get involved. They start pinning each other. Every fucking title changes with a roll-up. And then, at the end of it, Reggie wins the fucking thing back and does a fucking flip-flop out the ring again. The whole thing was a waste of time. The whole division, the whole belt is a waste of fucking time. Just call it the fucking surprise schoolboy roll-up belt and be fucking done with it, because I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah, I mean...
Anything to add?
I can't. I just... What else can you say, Carl? I think you've summed that up much better. Everybody knows... you prefer a small package. I know that.
That's it. I do.
Let that sink in. Let that sink in.
Gotta respect the small package, but
gotta respect the small package.
Not a
schoolboy shit.
Yeah, don't respect schoolboys. Only respect small. Wait a minute.
I want to move on. So next O'Shea, Carl. SmackDown. Just
okay,
all
leave
of
it
SmackDown.
Yeah.
So we had Aria being removed from the Survivor Series team because she's friends with Naomi. Like, okay, is that a thing?
It's like, really again.
They're just totally fucking going crazy with the Survivor Series rules.
It is really pissing me off. It's like it's such like school, like bloody school playground kind of stuff now between Sonya Deville and Naomi, and then like this didn't even involve Baszler at this point, and it's just like, well, yeah, how long have you known Naomi? Yeah, your friends. Oh yeah, about that. You're not in the team anymore, and it's like, what is this? What is happening?
This is the weird thing. Like, I don't know what we're meant to take of this. Like, I know some of it's look, it's storytelling, and we can't be like, trying to. It's a weird blend of reality and not, isn't it? Like, I'm all willing to suspend disbelief, but like, are we trying to pretend like Naomi doesn't know pretty much everyone in the Survivor Series team?
Well, exactly.
Or doesn't know pretty much everyone backstage, given the length of time she's been there? And I know you've got to sort of fall into the storytelling, but it's just stupid storytelling.
Yeah, like she's probably known like Aria for like literally a hot minute, whereas everyone else who's in that team, she's clearly got a better friendship with.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm confident she's known everyone else in that team longer. You're totally right. So it is just fucking weird. But the whole way that you put it on Sonya and Adam Pearce, don't you? Because that's the TV characters who were doing it. It's not them.
No,
they're not the creative behind this. They're just the fucking face of it. But like, it's just making it like, okay, they're in charge for some reason. Which again, have you ever wondered, like with that, right? Doesn't it feel a bit like, Triple H and Steph lost interest, and they literally didn't care who took over. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Like, it's no offense to Sonya or Adam Pearce, but there was a time when it's like Stephanie's like, "Oh, I'm the commissioner of," I think she had SmackDown. No, she didn't. She had Raw, and Shane was the commissioner of SmackDown, and on top of that, they were going to have general managers as well, and we had Mick Foley, an absolute legend, and Daniel Bryan, who's a current time legend, and had to retire very sadly, but what a great step for him to make. And then they just went, who cares? Just keep the show going. Adam, you're busy. What happened? It doesn't feel like they really put any thought into who runs the show now. Okay, and
because they don't.
And I'm going to sound like a bit of a hypocrite with this one because we've been moaning for years about the whole authority angle being stale, but it doesn't mean put two people in who just don't the book, they don't know what they're doing, and no one seems to care.
No,
that doesn't make sense either.
Well, exactly. I don't want to be proper AEW fanboying out, but at the end of the day, with AEW, they get around this lack of authority figures by just everyone knows Tony Khan makes the matches. He's back there with his fucking notepad, living his little best fantasy book on life, except he makes it a real thing. Everyone knows that. Everyone buys that, right?
But some kids play with wrestling figures. Tony just plays with wrestlers. Whatever.
Yeah.
I can't be quoted on that because that might be misinterpreted.
Daddy, buy me him. So, but yeah, I digress. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense why Sonya fucking Deville is in charge of anything. It doesn't make sense why Adam Pearce is either. So, yeah, but here we are. Also, slight, sidebar. I know this isn't a new member of Retribution, but did you notice Alia blowing chunks at the end of her match this week on SmackDown? Literally spewed her guts up. It was pretty grim, to be fair. If you haven't seen it, anybody who's listening or watching this, after she wins, she's all excited jumping in the ring with Sasha Banks and Naomi. Then she just kind of goes, turns around, and you just see something fall onto the floor. And if you look, you see that she just blew chunks right there in the middle of the ring. So fair play.
Oh man, that's a level of excitement I just couldn't match. Fair play to her. She's really selling her ass off there.
Maybe that's why they removed her. So the next shite, Anthony.
Sorry.
The next shite. This was awful, man. Right, Charlotte Flair's promo. Becky. What even was this? What? I've got literally no word.
Yeah.
Was everybody, the whole writing staff of SmackDown, just absolutely fucking high as a kite this week or what when they wrote this show? I don't understand.
I think they all used to write for Disney sitcoms, to be honest with you.
But this was horrendous. It's you want to be Becky Two Belts, you want to be big time Bex. I think you should be Becky. And it's
why?
Yeah.
And I thought I hated Becky too, but I fucking not to digress, but I always hated the Becky Two Belts thing. It's the stupidest fucking thing ever.
But she had two belts. Her name's Becky. Makes sense.
Aren't we glad that kind of rhymed?
Yeah.
At what point was that ever a thing? It's wow, they've got two belts. Wow.
Yeah.
That's happened so many times over the years.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Again, I think she's always been borrowing from the fucking handbook of Conor McGregor. I'm pretty sure that was when he was the champ or whatever, and he probably said it once, and she was like, I'm going to say that. But anyway, yeah, this was fucking.
You look at Chris
awful.
Jericho; he just unified them and stopped being a fucking dope with it. One belt. Anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, this was terrible. That's basically the summation of this segment. Yeah.
Indeed. There's not much more you can say. That's just some bad fucking. So many, I'm trying to be a smart ass. There's so many insults you could come up with that I'm actually struggling to think of one. So maybe, I don't know, maybe Charlotte had a point.
No, Becky.
Yeah, Charlotte had a Okay, so. Sorry, I'm just reading the notes. It just tickled me. I'm going to try and say it too. So we had... We had Ice Shanky and MC Jinder. Seriously, going back to what you were saying, Carl. And for those who are a bit confused, Carl wrote this note. I just happened to have my name on it, so I love it. I love the puns. I don't want to give him the credit for it. But again, just falls right back into that. What was going on with the writing this week? What was going on with the writing this week, Carl?
I honestly don't know. The whole of SmackDown offended me. It really did. Yeah. So I took that one personally. To be fair.
I think that that's a fair point. SmackDown was just not a good SmackDown this week. To be fair,
SmackDown was dreadful this week. I didn't like a single thing about it. You may have noticed there wasn't a single highlight that we spoke about on SmackDown this week. It just felt like, that episode of South Park where they're talking about how Family Guy gets made and it's just fucking dolphins just smashing shit. That's so what happened this week on SmackDown. There's no other explanation
it's certainly feeling it. And I honestly feel a little bit sorry for Jinder as well, because do you remember when he came back off that injury that we all forgot he had, and we were like, oh yeah, Jinder's a thing? And I was all for him getting into a feud with McIntyre. What happened?
Me too. Yeah,
I didn't have a problem with him in the main event scene. His last run wasn't great, but I didn't have a problem with him in it. And we just never got that. And we could still have that now. It doesn't even have to be for the belt.
Yeah. But no, we're going to get...
Instead, we get this.
Yeah. I believe this whole thing was because they're now going to start feuding with Hit Row or something. So it was like, they rap, so let us do a rap. And it was like, wow.
And again, people hate me for this, but... or maybe it's a reaction to the fact that we have a certain popular rapper, freestyle rapper on AEW who's getting a good bit of... he got a little bit of heat at first, but, people love the nod to Laurinaitis, so maybe they're trying to hand it a bit of rapping as well.
No, they're fucking failing. That's what to do. And the final shite to talk about this week, I don't know if it's just me. I think we both feel this way, but feel free to confirm or deny. Why the fuck is everyone obsessed with this crown and acting like a king or a queen? Like, we feared it when King of the Ring and Queen's Crown came back, and we were like, oh god, I just hope whoever wins it doesn't end up with a king or queen gimmick. That's happened, but now it's also been forced down our throats so much to the point where it's now the main event fucking feud of the show. Why does Roman Reigns need to put a crown on now and be like king of the table? It's like, come on.
Like that, honestly, like that, it's almost impressive that WWE have not only managed to get one King of the Ring out of this, they've now got two king gimmicks going from one pay-per-view, and they've got a queen gimmick going. Like that's an impressive level of royalty that they just haven't done before.
Well, that's it.
But like, what the fuck?
But it's like, I'm not being funny. Does the belt mean nothing then? Because like...
Are we forgetting, like, Shinsuke's still a king as well?
Oh, yeah. Of course he is.
It's actually becoming kind of pointless.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like, the way you can buy the title of Lord now? It's a little bit like that.
Yeah.
What a great gift for a friend or family member. Make them a king. Like, because apparently you can just do that. No problem.
Yeah.
Kings everywhere. Or queens.
No. Yeah, I just thought that this whole thing was beneath Roman at this point. I don't see why he needed to get involved, why he needed to bend the knee and claim the crown and all this kind of shit. Not for me. None of SmackDown was for me this week. Horrendous.
I mean, is there a subtle indication here that like we're probably going to get a decent feud with Xavier? I don't know. It doesn't feel right saying it, but could we maybe get a decent feud with Xavier and Roman? I
think Xavier's like collateral damage for the fact that the next couple of weeks we've got Big E and Roman, so how are we going to build some tension there? Well, I know. Well, Big E's only friend is Xavier Woods and Kofi probably. So let's beat up Xavier because he's a king. Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, sadly, I think you're right. But wouldn't it be nice if let him have his own feud instead of being like a bit player on Big E's?
It would. It would really would. Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately this was shite, and that was WWE. I'm going to give it a 1.5 out of 5 this week, Anthony. I think SmackDown was horrendous, NXT was okay, Raw wasn't too bad. 1.5 from me.
Yeah, mad, like that you can say Raw wasn't too bad.
I know. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone a bit. SmackDown was terrible.
I don't know. Maybe this is really a real sign of what the draft split can do, because you have like the draft or the brand, what do you call it, superstar shake-up, whatever bollocks they want to use for it now. You move the roster around, and then suddenly Raw's the better show. I don't know if that's going to stick, but interesting.
Yes.
But yeah, I would agree with you on a 1.5. I'm actually slightly tempted to go a 1, but yeah, NXT was okay. It was fine. So 1.5, I think that's fair.
Okay. So let's move over to AEW this week, obviously in the run-up to Full Gear. So the first highlight to talk about is Bryan Danielson versus Rocky Romero. No idea who the fuck Rocky Romero is. I imagine a lot of the internet wrestling fans do. Maybe he's from like New Japan or something. I don't really know. So I'm not going to lie and pretend like I know who he is. But the match was a banger. So whoever he is, he's good. It's a technical clinic. Danielson hasn't had a bad match in AEW. So, at the end of the day, technical style of wrestling is my kind of favourite style. And I think Danielson looks like he's having the absolute time of his life with everyone he gets in there with. So another great opening to Dynamite, and an introduction to Rocky Romero, who I didn't know who he was. And fair
I
play
believe
to,
he did. This was his Dynamite debut, wasn't it? But he'd been on, I want to say, Dark Elevation, maybe Dark. So he has been seen in AEW, but this is his first sort of televised one, I think.
Wow.
But yeah, like you say, fantastic introduction to him, and fantastic match. I think they allude to like the both of them have like spent a lot of time with Jushin Liger as well.
I think so.
I imagining that like they've got
they
a lot in common in a lot of ways, haven't they?
Yeah, they kept talking about both of them being like big veterans of the game and stuff like that. So yeah, so I guess this Rocky Romero guy is well known by certain circles, but yeah, I didn't know who he was, but I do now, and that's the main point.
Cool. So Carl, my next one, and I apologise because I keep forgetting the name of this group, but the group, if you will, that you'll remind me of in a second, beaten down the inner circle. What the fuck are they called again?
So
What's
it's American Top Team with
American Top Team. I know I had America in it somehow.
Yeah, and I suppose Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky are the Men of the Year, aren't they? So that weird kind of combination.
Yeah, so that combo, American Top Team, I'll try and remember that in future. I probably won't. But the beatdown of the inner circle, I think, has got to go in the highlight column, Carl. Honestly, it's probably the best work we've had between the two groups. And honestly, I don't know how you felt about it, but I honestly haven't been expecting anything other than the inner circle getting the upper hand here. And this actually made me think twice. They absolutely demolished them, and I think this made me this is the type of thing that I think is perfect with AEW, because when they're trying to sell you something that doesn't feel like realistic, that's probably not the right way of putting it, but you know what I mean? When they're trying to sell you something one-sided like that, they spend that time making you think, well, these guys are a legitimate threat. Like, and to liken it to earlier with WWE, like when you just randomly get Gable and Big E. Like this doesn't just baffle you. You go, well, okay, we've built this up now. So when they all face off, I'm actually going to be like on the edge of wondering who's going to win this. So yeah, I think it was executed really well.
Yeah, it was definitely the best segment that they've done. As two groups in AEW. I think it was nice to see Dan Lambert be the one who's like putting Jericho in the walls, Jericho, and being that horrible little shit that he is, because at the end of the day, the fact it was him that got added into the match and not like Jorge or Masvidal, I think people were a bit like, oh god, this is like WWE cop out kind of thing. But at the end of the day, he was in there as like a comedy character, and I think it added a bit of credibility to that faction heading into Full Gear, which is what you want. So
definitely what they needed.
At the end of the day, anyone who plays along with our prediction series on Instagram, I actually thought American Top Team was going to win. And part of that is because Jericho's coming on tour to the UK in a couple of weeks' time.
I thought he's going to do that.
So I thought he'd be written off at Full Gear. So, but obviously, spoilers ahead of Full Gear. I was wrong. But yeah, no, definitely the best segment these two groups have had.
Before you mentioned your reasoning being like outside factors, I would have totally understood you actually starting to think that, because I think this segment was like, this is what made me feel like they are a legitimate threat.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think that's what made it, good this week, I would say. So fair play. The next highlight, squash match for Wardlow, as it fucking should be. Far too long since we had one of these with Wardlow. I'm glad they're still pushing him as this dominant guy and not just the muscle for MJF. But yeah, obviously Wheeler Yuta, he's got quite a few fans, to be fair. I don't know why they put him with Best Friends again, whether it's another interpromotional thing from stuff I've not seen. But yeah,
it's the only trouble with AEW, and I kind of get the criticism. Like, some of the stuff goes over our head because they lean into you knowing outside stuff, and they do that. Like, we all meant to know who Wheeler Yuta is.
Well, exactly. Whether it's New Japan or Ring of Honor or what, like, it's not stuff we watch, so sometimes it's hard to actually connect the dots. But I think this was fantastic for Wardlow. I can see a big program coming up soon with him and MJF, because you can see already the whole Sean Spears and MJF thing, and Wardlow feeling a bit like an outcast. So I'm happy that they were building him up as a monster again, and hopefully they're going to do something big with him. I genuinely think he's got the credentials to be a future world champ. So,
oh yeah, like you say, he's an absolute monster. And what we have seen him has been actually quite impressive. It's not like he's he's a big guy, but he's a bit shit in the ring. We've seen him be quite impressive. Like, I'm not going to say he's like a technician or anything, but like he definitely no slouch in the ring, really.
No, as far as a big man goes, he's done some pretty good stuff, even like kind of high spots and stuff. So, yeah, fair play to him.
Indeed. So, Carl, next highlights, I'm sure you're going to agree. It's a match, a really good match. Boy versus Fish. Obviously, Jungle Boy going up against Bobby Fish. Both of them, again, like, I'll be honest, I didn't get the Jungle Boy hype. Like, so many people are just in love with him, right? And I'll be honest, like, looking at what happened with our TikTok, I think he got a lot of his female fan base because he's good looking. But so many people are just big on Jungle Boy, right? And I couldn't, I didn't get it. And I don't know why I didn't get it. But that being said, these two, this is a really good match. And it actually, this type of thing that's making me go, you know what, he is fucking good, and he to be fair.
I'm going to tell him this. I'm going to tell him this on Saturday.
Don't tell him this on Saturday.
I am. And Luchasaurus is going to be there as well. And so he's going to chin you.
No, I've always liked Luchasaurus, though. He's going to be on my side. Right. Get him, Luchasaurus!
Okay, you heard it here first. Saturday, it's going to be Anthony and Luchasaurus against Carl and Jungle Boy. Bring it on.
Nice.
In a convention match.
Like, it's not like I'm going to be, like, half drunk and be like, you know what? I didn't get it, Jungle Boy. I didn't get it. But I'm starting to get it. Can I have a picture? I'm not going to do that, but... Like, I'm just being honest, Carl. I didn't get it. I didn't get the fandom.
It's fine.
Like, for someone I didn't really know who'd come into, and I'm like, yeah, he's okay. But I don't know. The more I'm seeing of him, the more impressed I am. So
yeah. Okay, I'll let you off then. I won't shame you in front of him.
This isn't like the whole Darby Allin situation where I'm like, I still don't get it.
Okay, I'm definitely doing that next year when we see him. Definitely. So yeah, I will agree. Great match from these two. Obviously, I've always been a big fan of Jungle Boy. Always. Forever.
Love you.
I'm going to kiss you on Saturday. Anna Jay's had them.
Make you a jungle man.
Like literally, he's over with everyone. Even Max Caster's latest rap, he was like, "I wouldn't kiss you even though you're my fetish" or whatever. That was brilliant.
He's like literally just everybody loves the guy.
Everybody wants a piece of Jungle Boy. Again, that's a shirt right there. PWT soon. Everybody wants a piece of Jungle Boy. And then just on the back. Okay. The final highlight for AEW this week. So I just want to call out Dante Martin versus Aria Davari. Obviously, Davari we had seen in WWE previously, so interesting that he rocks up in AEW. But I just think Dante Martin's fantastic.
You guys.
Like, legit, Dante Martin is a fucking legend. He's so good. He's like Ricochet, but like better. Like the stuff he can, yeah, the stuff he could do. Actually, as a little side note, I saw something on Reddit before where because all AEW guys are pretty much nerds, and they went to a figure store or whatever. And Dante Martin picked up a Roman Reigns figure and was like basically saying, "I'll beat the shit out of you," kind of thing. And everyone was just like pissing themselves and like they're like, okay,
because didn't I see one? Who was it? I can't even remember.
Sammy.
I think I sent you the video. Yes, Sammy smashing up that figure as well. Can't remember whose figure he smashed up now. So it's a similar vein, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that was another AEW one, though, wasn't it? Was it MJF?
I think it might have been MJF. See that my anecdotes aren't as fun because I forget half of them.
I saw this thing this place sometime. It was good. It's good shit.
Wow! It's like
oh my god, you are Vince McMahon.
Good shit.
But yeah, so yeah, just I wanted to call it out again. Dante Martin, just fantastic. The stuff he can do, it's like breathtaking watching him. Sometimes it's just like, holy shit, how's a human being doing these things? So fair play, another great showing. And yeah, I don't know whether Davari is thing as like a one-time thing in AEW or what. But yeah, the whole match between the pair of them was really good, I thought. So, highlight.
I think that's fair.
Speaking of fair,
we're gonna give out some old shites, Carl. And my first one will be no surprise to anyone who listens to the show regularly. Contract signing. Now, honestly, this is largely because I always call the fuck out of WWE for this. Like, I almost tried to give AEW credit when they were doing shit that was different. When they were like, well, let's do a weigh-in. Okay, that didn't work. That was equally shit. But they tried to do something alternative to a contract signing. So, I don't know. I still, it doesn't sit well with me in AEW. It doesn't sit well with me in WWE. The contract signing just needs to go in the fucking bin. Maybe this should be a segment in the future. Things that just need to fuck off. Like, that can't be the right title for it.
I like that.
And they didn't even flip any fucking tables, which is the whole point you have a contract signing for.
Exactly. God, I didn't even do it right, damn it. But no, I think it's only fair. Like, we are super critical of WWE for going, oh, they booked another contract signing again. You know, there is like 5-6 other matches happening. Like, you know, there was 10 matches at Full Gear. We only got one contract signed, apparently.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's the thing. And what bugs me as well is, like, you've announced the card.
Yeah.
Like, are we really going to suggest that the planning is so poor in wrestling that you announce the card before anyone signs anything?
Do you know what? That
Bullshit.
is like the best bit about it is you're so right. They are the selling points for the pay-per-view. It's their two faces on everything. And it's like, okay, now a few days before, we just want you to sign the contract now to make it all official. It's like, I'm not
Honestly,
signing
right?
that.
I don't know how it would go down with the fans, right? I want them to keep kayfabe alive, right? And I want them to have one where they go, no, we're not signing the contract, and they just take the match off the card.
I think it'd be brilliant. You know,
And like, just so you start believing that maybe it's important.
exactly. You know, maybe a contract signing, you know, will actually have some kind of repercussion. But no, I completely agree. Shite, unfortunately. But yeah, just don't do it. Just don't do them.
Just don't need, or just call it the table flip. That's all we want. Mind you, they didn't even do that.
Oh, yeah, so they couldn't even do that, could they? So the next shite this week. So as much as I love Dante Martin, wasn't a big fan of the whole thing afterwards where it was like Team Taz are now trying to recruit him as well. Like, this guy is the most, you know, obviously everyone else can see what a star he is as well because every fucker wants to recruit him. We've got Leo Rush wanting him. I think the Hardy family office or whatever it's called wanted him at one point. Now Team Taz are after him. And it's like, you do know his tag team partner's coming back really soon, right? Like, are you signing him as well, or is it just, you know, you just want Dante Martin? Like, I just don't get it. And now it's like the whole Team Taz thing now, I think, has kind of run its course a bit. It just doesn't need to happen anymore. You know, Brian Cage just left, so who is it now? Hobbs, Hook, and Starks. So it's like, yeah, we don't need it. And certainly don't need to see segments of them trying to recruit people into factions. I just didn't get it.
No, I agree. Another thing I don't get, Carl, is this incessant. What's his group called? Hardy Family thing. What's it called again?
I think it's the Hardy Family Office.
I'm struggling with these fucking factions, man. Some of them just aren't memorable. And to be honest, what really hasn't worked for me is this whole Big Money Matt and this whole Hardy Family stuff. And that might be some of the reason I'm sort of giving it shit. But honestly, I feel like it's fair to say this has gone on too long now. So Hardy Family versus Best Friends, or basically Matt Hardy not liking Orange Cassidy, seems to be the main crux of it. Like, I thought we were done with this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're apparently not done with this. Like,
yeah.
we have to just get. I don't know.
Like, we're talking weeks ago when he got that fan.
Sorry.
I was going to say, we're talking weeks ago when he got that fan out the audience who was dressed like Orange Cassidy and shaved his head. And it was like, that was bad enough then. And it's like, weeks have passed and now we're still doing this? No,
but it's cool because, you know, never mind Rampage, Carl. We had them on Dynamite. We had Matt Hardy staring out Orange Cassidy on Dynamite, didn't we? Like, watching him in something that had nothing to do with Matt Hardy, but whatever. And then naturally, you know, we have to close down Rampage as well with this shit. I don't know. Like, bear in mind, Rampage essentially was the go home show for Full Gear, and that's what we choose to go with. And it just, I'm like, it's not working. Let it go. We're done. We're done here. They had a match. It was fine. Some people got concussed. Let's let it go.
I like that. Yeah. You know, if there's ever a reason to just let it go. be them. So
it was a concussion, wasn't it, for Matt? I can't even, I know he got hurt.
Yeah, I think so. Probably.
I feel like concussions are a big thing in wrestling these days, so
yeah,
makes
probably
sense.
Was. I mean, yeah, let's go with that. So yeah, Anthony, that was AEW this week. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the score?
I'm a little torn. I think we've had probably more shites than I expect, and bear in mind that's three or more than I expect. But overall, it was still a decent week, and there was still a lot of fun to be had. Was it particularly memorable? Is the factor. I'm torn between. No, I'm not torn. I'm going to give it a 3. I think it was decent. It wasn't fantastic, but it was decent.
Okay, I like that. I'm actually going to give it a 2.5, and the only reason for that is the fact is this was the go home shows for Full Gear.
That's a fair point.
I say the same thing every time with WWE. Like, if it doesn't feel like a go home show, these are your last two options, like opportunities to get people to buy the fucking thing, and it wasn't really anything, other than the contract signing, which we didn't like, that made us go, oh. I mean, actually, that's a lie, isn't it? Because did we have was that this week? Have we just not even put it on there? Didn't we have like some Kingston and Punk shit? Or was that the previous week? Was that the previous week? Who even knows anymore? What is time?
No, there was. I recall. I don't know if we had anything on Rampage. I know on Dynamite they had like a big argument backstage and people were holding them back.
Oh, the parking lot thing. Yeah.
So
I don't
to be fair, if anything happened on Rampage.
I don't think it did. I think Punk he said that he intentionally didn't want them to kind of scrap or get involved too much because he wanted people to actually just wait for the pay-per-view. So that's probably why.
Well, I mean, of course, they're obviously burying Punk and they're not using him properly, and what's the point in signing them when you're not going to do anything with them, etc., etc., etc.
Exactly. So for me, it gets a 2.5. Unfortunately, just because it wasn't that strong in terms of a go-home show.
Yeah, I mean, I accept what you're saying there. Like when you factor in the go-home show elements, I totally understand that criticism.
Accept it. And then just very briefly in terms of the other promotions this week, just two little snippets. So Matt Cardona was beaten by Alex Shelley in GCW this week. I'm not too sure if it was unclear.
GCW, is he?
He is. He's also on Impact as well this week. But I wasn't too clear on whether or not he actually got his internet title off him, because I'm pretty sure he took it with him. But he didn't announce that it was for the belt. And when I've looked on the results and stuff like that, it doesn't say it was for the belt either. But he definitely took his fucking title with him. So yeah, I don't know. Has he lost it? Who knows? And then the only
I think he's definitely fucking lost it.
The only other snippet to call out: Eddie Edwards became the new #1 contender for Moose's Impact title as well on Impact this week. So yeah, all in all, not too much going on really, but yeah, just a little bit of highlights there from the rest of the wrestling world. But that was it. That was This Week in Wrestling. And if you made it this far, it's time for us to tell you again. Go and check us out on PWTs. We are on ProWrestlingTees.com/A2theK Wrestling. You can
buy the shirts, wear the shirts.
Exactly. Just like us, because that's. oh wait, we picked a terrible time not to wear any of our own merch for the show today.
Oh, remember, because we started this podcast in New Year 1980, so your shirt's definitely one of us.
Exactly. But yeah, so yeah, go and check that out. And yeah, we're going to be doing all the latest news and rumours momentarily, and then this week we're going to be talking about the Full Gear results and our reactions to that pay-per-view. Spoilers, it was that good. So yeah, we will be back after these lovely messages from the one and only Thunder Rosa.
Hey everybody, this is Thunder Rosa, and you're watching or listening A2theK. A2theK.
A2theK.